Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Listen, man. Woo, weather has been pretty bad. We got hit with a snowstorm and we got 3 to 5 inches. I think this is the most we got in the last few years. And it is bitterly cold, because we are still under that polar vortex that came from the North Pole, Antarctica, came on down through Canada, and it's hitting the East Coast and also parts of the Midwest. So we are in the deep freeze, and on top of that, all of the snow we got is going to be icy because we're going down in the teens. In fact, we've been under this polar vortex now for, I think this is like our third week. And we're finally coming out of it as of this coming Wednesday. And man, I can't wait. I can't wait. It has been bitterly cold. So our daytime temperature was 34 and we're going down to 16 degrees tonight, but with the wind chill factor, it's going to feel like it's 5 degrees. It's been very windy and it's that bitterly cold wind. And I think tomorrow we're only going to be 29 degrees during the day. So this this stuff is gonna be complete ice tomorrow. So I guess we got our own story to talk about, but we're gonna talk about Washington State. They got hit with an atmospheric storm and it dropped 15 inches of rain, and over 100,000 people had to be moved in a short period of time. And of course, homes got flooded, and it was a terrible situation out there. So, we're going to look at what went on out there. And let's see here. And I hope that, because I got subscribers out there in Washington State. So, those of you that are out there, I sure hope you're safe and you're not impacted by that atmospheric river. So before we get started, just a reminder, out on Etsy, I have a 30% off sale, lisacrafts.etsy.com. And the sale will be over as of the 24th of December. I will be working on orders tonight. So if you order tonight, it will go out first thing tomorrow, because I'm going to get up and get the orders out first thing in the morning when I get up. So if you want something, and you definitely know what you want, make sure you go out there and get it in before midnight. As long as you get it in by midnight, it will be going out tomorrow morning. All right. So here we go. Give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you. All right. So the people out there in Washington are saying, they said they get floods, and but this one, even for them, this one was exceptionally bad. They said they have never seen it get this bad before. And we've been hearing that all year long when these floods hit. So let's get started. Thank you for the ones.
This morning, historic flooding forcing thousands in Washington state to evacuate. New images capturing the devastation in the Pacific Northwest, including a home swept away. This video from the King County Sheriff's Office showing first responders rescuing people trapped in their homes by the high water. Houses, vehicles submerged.
This is historic flooding that goes all the way back till somebody started keeping a record.
Our Trevor Alt in Burlington.
Look at the flooding in this neighborhood in Burlington. They told the entire town at 6 this morning to evacuate immediately. The National Guard was going door to door.
In Oregon, this massive landslide sweeping over the highway. Officials saying the damage will cause a long-term closure of the roadway. Monica Mendez showing video of the area where weeks ago she celebrated her son's second birthday. Now it's under feet of water.
And I'm just in shock, like trying to process everything that is like thinking about this party, like my family was just here.
Emergency shelters in Skagit County have become homes to entire families. Robert Gilkey and his family got out of their home as the water was rising.
We started packing our car and moving as much as we could upstairs as quick as we could.
On Friday, President Trump signed a federal emergency declaration which will bring much needed federal aid to the area.
Mother Nature is at its best right now, showing us who's boss.
Up to 100,000 people in the Pacific Northwest are being warned they may need to evacuate. Rivers have risen to record levels. The flooding has been catastrophic. Homes and roads underwater. Today, President Trump signing a federal emergency declaration for the area. Many people have already evacuated.
This is unlike anything we've seen in a long, long time. I think it's surpassed every flooding record we've had.
Today, residents in Burlington, north of Seattle, were told to evacuate immediately because of rising water from a nearby river. Washington's National Guard going door to door telling residents to get out. In Sumas, Washington, these new images of the Coast Guard rescuing victims trapped in homes surrounded by 8 to 10 feet of water. Survivors were hoisted onto helicopters and given medical aid. These drivers rescued by a Navy chopper, one of the drivers clinging onto a tree. 68-year-old William Elliott was rescued from his flooded home.
That's one of the hardest things I've had to do. Just pack a couple of backpacks and not knowing what you're going to find when you get back.
We have several breaking stories as we come on the air tonight. The Michigan head football coach fired and now word of this arrest and new allegations, what we've learned. But we do begin tonight here with the state of emergency in Washington state. Look at the pictures coming in, catastrophic flooding. Up to 100,000 people have been told to be on alert to evacuate at a moment's notice. Raging waters, entire neighborhoods underwater tonight. Hundreds of National Guard members now activated. Black Hawk helicopters making water rescues. Another chopper was seen saving 2 drivers trapped in the rushing waters, airlifting them to safety. Tonight, we're also tracking a new Clipper system moving from Montana all the way to the East Coast. Dangerous driving in the Northeast. The school bus on its side in Vermont, trouble landing at the Rochester, New York airport. And with this storm, a new Arctic blast, wind chills below zero from Minnesota all the way to New York and right up to Maine. But we do start here with this emergency unfolding. ABC's Trevor Alt on the scene for us in Washington state tonight.
Tonight, rivers raging out of their banks across the Pacific Northwest. 100,000 residents warned to be ready to evacuate. More than a foot of rain already, and multiple rivers in Washington are in major flood stage.
Look at Issaquah Creek racing into the parking lot of this apartment complex here. Emergency workers came in after midnight to get everybody evacuated because the water level was rising so quickly.
Not far from here, first responders from Eastside Fire and Rescue and a Navy chopper working to save 2 drivers caught in the rapids, one of them found clinging to a tree. Blackhawks also making rescues. Swift water teams fanning out all across the impacted areas.
If you have instructions to evacuate from your local authorities, please, please, please evacuate.
Residents sandbagging along the Green River. Michael Patak and his brother using heavy equipment.
We're just trying to build a wall, like a little island perimeter around the property here, to keep the water out from the house.
And as rivers rise in the west, new rounds of snow slamming the Midwest and Great Lakes. Planes struggling to land in Rochester, New York. Some spots there could get up to a foot of snow in the next 48 hours with sub-zero wind chills right behind it.
And David, look at the Snohomish River raging here. They had built 33-foot levees to contain it. It just climbed over the top of them as it shattered its record high water level. Some rivers in Washington won't even crest until tomorrow, and then even more rain is coming on Sunday. David.
Just awful scenes coming in from Washington. We're thinking about all those families. Trevor, thank you.
Looks like we now have a houseboat. About 6 feet of water underneath my house, maybe 7.
It's downtown Tacoma. Check this out. We are stuck in this building. It's crazy.
A powerful atmospheric river continues to move through the Pacific Northwest, western Washington taking the brunt of it. It led to a mudslide on I-90. This was near South Bend of Washington yesterday. What a mess. Look at that. Scary, too. There was an SUV and a box truck that got caught up in that debris flow. Thankfully, first responders say everyone was able to exit their vehicles safely. Last night on Fox Weather Live, Steve Bender spoke with Fox 13 Seattle meteorologist Claire Anderson about this powerful storm.
It's not abnormal to see flooding. We see it every year. But when you see the accumulation of this much rain, several days of it, and then going out into these floodplains, that's the problem we're seeing. It's the amount of moisture over these quick amount of days that are really creating problems, and the warm temperatures, which a lot of this rain in a cooler condition would be snow staying in the mountain.
Not the case. This is all rain. And the next round that comes through, also an AR4 next week, expected to come from a warm source. Estimated rainfall totals for the past 3 days are impressive. More than a foot of fresh rain in some cases along the Olympic Peninsula, closer to the foothills of the Cascades. And then we talked about this yesterday. Remember, I was talking about the snow levels at 4,000 feet going up to 8,000 feet for Idaho and Montana. Look what's happened. A ton of rain there, so flooding concerns there. They're not in the cold sector. That is going to be for the eastern part of Montana. Meantime, back to Washington State, we've had a number of places recording more than a foot of fresh rain. You look at not only the Olympic Peninsula, but a lot of places from King County up through Skagit River Valley. The river continues to overflow, and a lot of people are watching. Evacuations may be happening quickly. Be ready to move if told to do so. Here's the moisture source. It's coming from just north of the Hawaiian Islands. Hawaiian Islands sitting close to almost 2,500 miles away from Seattle. But the moisture fetch, the atmospheric river, the water vapor is going that far. And since it's originating in a warmer area, the snow levels are way up about 7,000 to 8,000 feet. That is still a concern today. Any snow that is at the higher elevations is also flooding. Dozens of rivers we continue to watch, communities close to rivers we continue to watch in the days ahead, because we've got a break finally as we go through late Friday into Saturday, but we're not done with it just yet. And take a look at what we've got going on here as well. That atmospheric river, the moisture is making it all the way to Idaho, but you can see where the cold air is in place. So that's not snow for Idaho. That is all rain. Now, as we look ahead through Friday, we'll add an additional up to 5 inches of fresh rain for the foothills, locally 2 to 3. For the lower line areas, for Puget Sound, about 1 to 3, but it is already saturated the ground. We've got waves of energy that come through. Again, we get a very brief break for the weekend, but look what happens next week. Looking at the AR scale for next week, it is scheduled to be at about a 4 out of 5, and that does mean a lot of moisture for a long duration. Please be prepared to evacuate if told to do so. We'll watch this as we go through the next 2 weeks.
It's just floating down the river. I can't believe this.
This morning, historic flooding forcing thousands in Washington state to evacuate. New images capturing the devastation in the Pacific Northwest, including a home swept away. This video from the King County Sheriff's Office showing first responders rescuing people trapped in their homes by the high water. Houses, vehicles submerged.
This is historic flooding that goes all the way back till somebody started keeping a record.
Our Trevor Alt in Burlington.
Look at the flooding in this neighborhood in Burlington. They told the entire town at 6 this morning to evacuate immediately. The National Guard was going door to door.
In Oregon, this massive landslide sweeping over the highway. Officials saying the damage will cause a long-term closure of the roadway. Monica Mendez showing video of the area where weeks ago she celebrated her son's second birthday. Now it's under feet of water.
And I'm just in shock, like trying to process everything that is like.
All right, y'all. But, the sad part is they're not even out of the woods yet because they got snow in their forecast coming. So it's not even over for them. So on top of all of this 15 feet of snow, of water, they just got dumped on them over the last several days. They're now getting a round of snow. So it's going to get even more devastating for them. It's a shame. But the disasters are more frequent and it seems like they have gotten worse. I don't care where they hit in this country. Everybody is saying the same thing that gets hit with these disasters, that they have gotten far worse than anything they have seen in their lifetime. And it is true. It is absolutely true. Well, let's see here. David Boyd, 7043. Thank you for the new channel membership. In fact, you got 4 here. Thank you for all 4. And thank you for your support for my channel. I deeply appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of judgment on America. That is so true. That is so true. I might do another one on 3I Atlas because we're getting close to the 19th, because that's the date everybody seems to be shaking over, December the 19th. And they seem to think that's the day they're going to really get a good close look at 3I Atlas. They'll really get to see what it looks like. So we shall see. We shall see if they're going to really show us, or we're still going to see just these lights in the sky, like that's all they've been showing us all this time. When it comes down to NASA, I don't trust them. I think if they can get away with showing us just some more lights in the sky, I think that's what they'll try to show us. You might get better images from amateurs that have telescopes in their backyards than you will from somebody like NASA, for real. What made me laugh? When I had showed y'all the spaceship that popped up on the screen before NASA turned off the camera, somebody wrote in my comment section, and I blocked the person for saying something really stupid. They said, you shouldn't believe everything NASA tells you. Now, all I said was NASA switched the camera off when that spaceship showed up. How was that NASA telling me something? I said NASA switched the camera off when that spaceship appeared in the camera. And this person said, you need to stop believing everything NASA tells you. Does that make any sense? I was like, just for being an idiot, I'm blocking you. So anyway, I did not understand that reply. How did NASA tell me something and all they did was switch off a camera? Seriously? So anyway, y'all, we shall see what they will show us or not show us, but I'm not riding much on NASA showing us anything. If we do get images, it's more than likely going to come from amateurs and not NASA. That's how I see it. But them showing us something, because they're still trying to convince everybody it's nothing but a comet. So that's the big reason why I don't think they're going to show us any good images at all, because they're just still harping on that comet stuff. So everybody, thank you for being here. I deeply appreciate it. And be on the lookout for my upcoming lives. Shalom, family.